Hey guys, so thank you for coming back and watching another diagnosis series. And today we are going to be talking about narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is a chronic sleep disorder which basically causes you to have extreme daytime sleepiness. There are fewer than 200,000 cases in the US a year. Now, some of the symptoms with narcolepsy can be daytime sleepiness, which is a given, cataplexy, and then sudden loss of muscle tone. Now, not everybody that has narcolepsy has cataplexy, and many do believe that cataplexy is its own condition, but it's actually a symptom, and honestly, it's a little confusing to me. But when you see a doctor, you have these symptoms such as excessive daytime sleepiness or numbing in your feet or throwing up, not part of narcolepsy, but just in general. And when you say cataplexy, it is a symptom, but it's its own, category. It's a symptom slash condition, but you can't have cataplexy without having narcolepsy, but you can have narcolepsy and not have cataplexy, if that makes sense. Now, cataplexy is triggered by extreme emotions such as crying, fear or terror, as well as laughing. So many people you'll see on YouTube recording their cataplexy moment, and it could be something such as someone scaring them on the other side of the wall. And what happens is that their muscles become paralyzed and they drop, kind of like a brick. They see and hear their surroundings, but they can't react to it. They cannot move. And this can last up to several minutes. I've even heard 30 minutes at a time. Now, when people have narcolepsy, not all, but most have REM sleep. Now, when you're going through REM sleep, it's a very deep sleep, and you typically have hallucinations, and this will happen before and or after you fall asleep. These hallucinations are terrifying. They are extremely scary. You also have paralysis, and it will be during or before or after you go to sleep. So what happens is, for instance, for myself, my paralysis, when I do have it, happens when I wake up, upon waking. And what happens is my body is paralyzed, my eyes open, and I can see and hear my surroundings, but I cannot move. And when it first happened to me, I panicked big time. And at first I seen random things floating, kind of like the boogeyman, but wasn't the boogeyman. And that scared me, but not as much as being paralyzed and not being able to move, especially for the first time experiencing this paralysis. Now, when you or your doctor believes that you have narcolepsy, you will undergo a sleep study. Typically, it's just a one-day event. It's an overnight, so you will sleep at the clinic. They will apply a good 50 wires all over your head and chest, and they will put you in a room. You'll have a bed, a TV, and you basically get to go to sleep when you want. They want to see your sleeping habits, your natural sleeping habits. They will have a camera in the room, and they will be able to hear you and see you. And the next day, they will go through some questions with you, and then you will undergo a sleep study, like a nap study, where you will do, 10 to 15 minute naps for 4 of them for a certain amount of hours. And depending on the state, I believe you have to go into some sort of REM sleep a certain amount of times to be diagnosed with narcolepsy. Now, I'm not exactly sure about that because the doctor who diagnosed me told me a lot different things than my current doctor did, but in the end, I still technically have narcolepsy. Now, it's not invasive, but it definitely is time consuming. Cataplexy, there are no tests for cataplexy. You basically sit with your doctor and explain your symptoms, and it's all about your symptoms. It's very easy to figure out if you have cataplexy. You'll know immediately because you'll have paralysis just by some sort of strong emotion. Now, narcolepsy and cataplexy are treated with different things, sometimes the same. There are several treatments for narcolepsy, and they're all a medication pill form. There is a few but minimal treatments for cataplexy. One that is a little bit more serious, to the point where you have to sign a lot of papers, you have to do like an interview over the phone with a particular nurse. This nurse will then send it to the pharmacy, which is not your pharmacy like a Walgreens in your neighborhood. They will mail it to your home as a delivery, with probably a monthly delivery, and you have to sign for it. I don't want to name it, but there are a few different ones out there. But narcolepsy and cataplexy are definitely treatable. I personally have narcolepsy with cataplexy. My narcolepsy is on the extreme board, and my cataplexy is more on the minor board. And for example, when I found out I had narcolepsy, I was falling asleep at the stop signs and not being able to wake up, the stop lights, not being able to wake up. I had crashed my car a dozen times. I fell asleep during conversations. I fell asleep without having a conversation and just standing still. Now, my cataplexy is very minor. I rarely get it, and when I do get it, it tends to happen in my hands, arm, or my legs. And it doesn't last very long. It's not my full body, so it's very minor, but I do take one of the medications I mentioned that you do have to speak with a pharmacist and a nurse. And I do take that at nighttime, and then that also helps with my narcolepsy, so I do not have to take 2 medications as I did at one point. Now, don't worry, you will find the medication that is right for you. It may take some time, but there's something out there for every individual who has narcolepsy and or cataplexy. All right, everybody, well, that is it. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, just post below. Please give me a thumbs up and press the subscribe button. And I hope you guys stay along with my journey, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.